Greetings, Old World and Warhammer fans, and this is my first non-hungover video of 2024, for which you are welcome, and once again I apologise for the state I was in my last video, but needs must as the devil drives, we had to get some content out. Right, so, I've taken a week off, we've all had a bit of a break, and it's been non-stop in the old world ever since then. I mean, there's been an almanac once, sometimes twice, even more a day, and so I'm not going to go over any of that. I think we've all had plenty of time to digest what's happening, and we're going to look instead at the state of play of the pre-order that happened on the 6th. And so let's roll those credits, and then we'll have a quick discussion about that. Now, hopefully, since the pre-order went live on Saturday morning UK time at 10 o'clock, hopefully most of you have got everything you wanted. Now, I know from following on the social media, especially in the Old World group, where a collection of over 45,000 Old World enthusiasts all get together to complain about base sizes, that not everyone has got what they wanted, and that Games Workshop were apparently woefully unprepared for such demand as was created by the run-up for this game. Now, I don't know about you, but I managed to bag myself the Bretonnian box. I know I mentioned previously Tomb Kings, but actually I thought about it and I thought, well, if I'm collecting High Elves, then probably want someone who can ally with them at the moment. So I've got the Bretonnian box, and I did manage to bag it from a friendly local game store online for the princely sum of £124, which is perfect. However, I was unable to source myself a copy of the Forces of Fantasy in time, and I'll be honest, I resisted buying anything else because, you know, 1250 points to Bretonnians is enough to be going on with, and we'll see where we come in a few months after that. But so here's my question to you: was this Games Workshop being terribly unprepared, or was this a marketing masterstroke by Games Workshop to make sure that there remains high demand for the new game in the months to come? I think it's probably the latter. They have sold tens of thousands of copies of this game now. We all saw that picture, the leaked picture of the Tomb Kings box art, and you could see how many hundreds and hundreds of bits of cardboard there were stacked up there to make those boxes. And they're all gone. They're absolutely sold out everywhere you look. So much so that places like Wayland Games, the cheeky swines, didn't even bother offering their discount on them. They did them at the full list price, which is almost unheard of. And a bit of price gouging from the FLGS there isn't the best thing in the world, but demand was high, and you can understand it. You know, Games Workshop do it, they set the prices, so you can't necessarily have a go at these people for taking advantage on their own. That said, you can see a lot of people didn't get what they wanted. You can see people, I mean, in fairness, people were going out there and trying to buy the full range that had been pre-ordered for the Bretonnians or the Tomb Kings, plus the box, plus the books, plus the additional rule books if needed, and everything. And not everyone is going to get all of that, because it's a gamble by a big company, even a company like Games Workshop who specialise in this sort of thing. It is a gamble to release such a wide range of miniatures. And by I say release, I don't mean these are new miniatures, because the majority of them aren't. But digging all of these casts out, getting production started again, releasing metal miniatures for the first time in God knows how long. This sort of thing is a calculated risk, and you do not want to be left with piles and piles of unsaleable miniatures. Now, they'll have taken a look at the socials, they'll have taken a look at the aftermarket sales on eBay, and I mean, I myself have benefited from that recently. It's one of those things where there's still high demand, so they made plenty, but did they make enough? Probably not. Did they make enough to make us all hungry for more? Definitely. Now, with a game like this, what you don't want to do is have everybody buy everything in the first week, because, I mean, if you're buying 70 odd Bretonnian miniatures, it's going to take me ages to paint. they're not going to be my prime army. High Elves are currently my prime army. I'm sat here with 10 Silver Helms down there, a bunch of archers over there, a metal dragon in pieces in a box just waiting for me to find the time. And if I throw the Bretonnians into that as well, then yeah, great, I could have bought everything, but I wouldn't be buying anything for months to come. So if they don't create demand and desire for people to buy more, then it's going to be crest of a wave, down into a trough, nothing from it for a very long time. And the old Warhammer died in large part due to people not spending the money. And what you've got to do in this case is you've got to manage that. You've got to manage the fact that people still want it. You've got to keep demand high and make sure that you are not drip feeding as such, but keeping a constant flow of things and keeping people excited. There are people on the Warhammer, the Old World group, who are showing their, I won't even call them piles of shame at this point, because they're boxed, new and sealed, they're blister packs. They've got dozens and dozens and dozens of things that have been boxed for 20 years that haven't been painted, and that's great. People have spent all the money a long time ago, but then had no need to spend any more ever again. And so in this case, what I think we're looking at is a very calculated release by Games Workshop, whereby enough of everything was gone out so that lots of people can be playing it. The more popular influencers, we did not count, we did ask, we did not get offered anything from Games Workshop, which is a disappointment, but there again, we are only tiny, so what can we say? But they've got out there the game, they've got out there now people making battle reports on YouTube. There are plenty of reviews and unboxings coming out by a lot of the more regular Instagrammers. You're seeing quite a few on Facebook. Many people, myself included, have managed to score a box or have got something that they wanted from this release, and on the 20th those people are going to be very happy, and they're all going to be on social media opening their boxes. I will do the same. I'll get an unboxing going, and that's going to spur on demand. And hopefully this is going to spur on demand. Oh, you've got to understand as well, they're releasing 2 armies. Yeah, just 2 armies. And I know they're armies that haven't had anything for a very long time. But not everyone wants to play Tomb Kings. Not everyone wants to play Bretonnia. Gaz from the channel, he's going to play Dwarves. And in the meantime, while he waits for them to release a Dwarf army, he is going to convert all his old vampire counts back to the old world from the Age of Sigmar. The swine, the traitorous swine for playing Sigmar. But with all of this, you've just got to accept that all things will come with time. People are still asking about when the PDF lists are coming out, and I would quite like to see that, because I want to see what we're going to be up against with the Vampire Counts army that Gaz is making. Obviously, that's what we're going to play against. And people are wanting those to become canon. That's not going to happen for years, if at all. But in the meantime, we need to be patient. The Games Workshop clearly have a release cycle for this, and I would imagine that this release cycle for these 9 factions is going to take place over the course of a year to 2 years, and everyone's going to get everything they want. There's going to be new miniatures and re-released rangers, and they're probably going to come out in pairs like this, and I would imagine there will be an army box with each faction drop. I don't imagine there will be a rulebook release in this army box. I don't think it'll be like the one we've got now, but I do imagine, looking at the fact that they've gone to the effort to make 2 very distinct armies in 2 different boxes, and these armies are both 1,250 points, I think that we're probably going to see that for each of the 9 core factions over the course of a year or 2. They've got the Rangers, they'll have been designing a lot of these miniatures for a very long time, and then once they've addressed all of that, everyone has got themselves an Arcane Journal, has got themselves an army box, classic miniatures available to order, and some brand new ones like the Dragon and the Lord on Pegasus and things like that. Then they're going to start looking at a whole new range. And the 2 things that they have teased us are Kislev, right from the very off, they tease us Kislev, and Grand Cathay, who obviously do not have a range, but have got a force that you can play in Total War Warhammer 3, as do Kislev for that matter. But both of these were designed with the Old World team in order to make sure that were they ever to release themselves a force of these, that it would make perfect sense because people have seen it before and people are ready to play. And I think that's a good idea. Big rangers like this, huge new rangers which will be released not in metal at this point, but in plastic and in Forge World resin. These things are a much bigger calculated risk, and if they've got a year or 2 of solid sales down with the game, then that's great. We're going to see these new things. And I think that's probably the plan. And they keep mentioning there is no plan to support the factions that have been dropped, but they have got their PDF listed on valid in Games Workshop tournaments. But looking around, everyone else seems to be fine with having them in tournaments. And we will see what happens when we see how well balanced they are come the first few tournaments. If the Dark Elves are winning everything hands down, for example, then all of a sudden tournaments are going to have to create their own army rules, or they're going to have to start dropping these armies because, you know, if the 9 have been balanced together and the remainder haven't, then there's going to be issues. But we will find out about that. The point is that after we have seen these 9 release, and then the 2 new factions that I'm almost certain will come if sales remain high, then if popularity is still high, we will see these remaining factions brought into the fold. Except for Chaos Dwarves, they're never coming back. They've been dealt with. They get punished all the time. That's it. Deal with it, Chaos Dwarf people. I was one of you once, long ago. But that's it. I think, all in all, it's been a good weekend. I'm happy with my purchase. I hope most of you are happy with yours and that you got something. We'll not get into the crazy price differences between regions. The Australian and the New Zealand prices are insane, but you've got to consider the costs involved, I suppose, in shipping containers to Australia and then shipping more shipping containers to New Zealand. But we'll ignore that for now because that way lies madness. In the meantime, we'll be back in touch if anything new happens in them before release day, but if not, I'm going to try and get a quick unboxing out when I receive my order on or around the 20th. Until then, take care, do leave a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you soon. Bye bye.